Go ahead, Kelly.
On Minnesota and another officer-involved shooting that resulted in the death of an African-American man, has the White House been in touch with Governor Walz, or are there any resources from the federal government that are being offered? And this comes at a time when obviously the Chauvin trial is progressing. Is there a federal plan for when that trial reaches its conclusion, whatever the outcome may be? And thirdly, I'm racing through them because we're short on time today. The president had promised as a candidate a police commission that Dr. Rice says will not go forward at this time. It seems obviously that officer-involved interactions with the public are intensely important at the moment. So first on Minnesota, and if you could address the police commission going forward.
Sure, and just check me if I don't get to all of your questions. I will try to do my best. Let me first say that we are incredibly saddened. We were incredibly saddened to hear about the loss of life at the hands of law enforcement in Minnesota yesterday. The president has, of course, been briefed. He will have a few words he will share at the top of the semiconductor event that will be starting shortly. Hence, we'll be moving through our questions here about his own thoughts. We are also in touch with the governor, in touch with the mayor, in touch with local law enforcement authorities as well. I would say it is a reminder of the pain, the anger, the trauma, the exhaustion that many communities across the country have felt as we see these incidents continue to occur within just a few miles of where the tragic events happened just a year ago. In terms of the police commission, we have been in very close contact over the course of several months back to the transition with both civil rights activists, with law enforcement authorities and the law enforcement community about what would be most effective moving forward. And as Dr. Rice conveyed, or I think the statement we put out, I should say, conveyed, we have made a decision in coordination that the best path forward is to work to pass the George Floyd Policing Act, that has a great deal of the content, of the policy changes, of the necessary reforms that we would all like to see in place. So that was a collective decision, and that's where our focus will be.
And is this a delay, or do you expect it to just not go forward at all?
Well, we expect, for the time being, for our focus to be on moving the legislation forward and not on the policing commission. Go ahead.
On that, you mentioned the focus is now on passing the George Floyd Policing Act. It's been over a month since we've heard the president talk about this, though. We haven't seen a big push, at least not publicly, from this administration. What kind of steps are you taking to pressure Congress on this, and should we expect to see this sort of rise on the list of your priorities? You obviously have a very full plate.
We do, but I would say that the president was addressing racial equity, ensuring that we are putting in place long overdue reforms. Real change is a priority for him. It is something he looks forward to continuing to discuss with members of Congress. He believes that there is a path forward, that this piece of legislation offers that path forward, and he certainly will use the power of his presidency to move it forward.
You mentioned that civil rights groups recommended against this commission. Did they put forth other recommendations, steps that the White House can take while you try and pressure Congress, wait, and hope that the Senate will act on them?
Well, we, of course, are in very close touch with them. I think what is, I should say more specifically, we've been in touch with a range of groups, including the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, the Leadership Conference, as well as leading experts. And the strong consensus from all of these groups is that the work should be focused on trying to pass the George Floyd Act, and the commission would not be the most constructive way to deliver on our top priorities. So we are working together collectively to do exactly that. There are steps that we certainly will work in conjunction to take as they are possible, and some of them we've signed through executive orders, and we'll continue to communicate with these groups about what is most effective.